Everywhere we travel, we share space with a shadow economy. Organized crime syndicates are operating with ruthless corporate efficiency right in front of us, turning our busiest public transit corridors into their own private supply chains. Look at this map of flight paths over North America. You might assume trafficking happens exclusively hidden in the back of trucks, but a Polaris Project study found that 38% of sex trafficking survivors reported being moved on commercial airplanes. They are sitting in the aisle seats right next to us. To counter this, Homeland Security launched the Blue Lightning Initiative. It trains flight crews and gate agents to spot subtle behavioral red flags, like a passenger without a passport, or someone entirely dominated by an older travel companion. For syndicates, commercial flight provides speed and immediate jurisdictional evasion. They can move a victim across borders in a matter of hours, turning the transit pipeline into a constant race against a clock for law enforcement. Halfway across the world, the pipeline shifts from skies to tracks. In India, the vast national railway infrastructure serves as the primary domestic artery for traffickers who use the massive daily volume of millions of passengers to hide their movements in plain sight. Syndicates specifically target economically depressed zones, gathering victims at border-adjacent terminals like Raxaul railway station in Bihar. These stations act as consolidation hubs before the long-distance journey into major metropolitan centers. To sever these routes, the Railway Protection Force runs a specialized nationwide interdiction campaign known as Operation AAHT. They deploy intelligence units directly onto the trains and platforms. During a recent sting on the Satyagraha Express, agents intercepted 4 minor girls who had been lured from their villages with fake job offers. They were being moved in a small group, entirely managed by a single handler holding all their tickets and identity documents. These public transit corridors provide the high-volume, low-margin supply chain necessary to successfully transport vulnerable people across the country. But the next phase of modern exploitation, the high-margin extraction, happens behind closed doors, in completely isolated real estate. Once inside the city, the strategy shifts to targeted, high-yield extortion. Syndicates create highly alluring decoy profiles on dating apps, specifically hunting for affluent male professionals, pilots, tech executives, politicians, men whose careers make them highly vulnerable to a scandal. In the United States, this often takes the form of a purely virtual law enforcement scam. A target books an escort online and arrives at a local hotel, but before anyone even shows up, his phone rings. The caller claims to be a federal agent or a vice detective, stating the escort was a minor or part of an active sting operation. The fake agent threatens immediate arrest and public sex offender registration. The only way out, they claim, is to immediately pay a massive fine using untraceable cryptocurrency or wire transfers. If the target refuses or hesitates, the trap escalates into the cartel death threat scam. Scammers use masked VoIP numbers to bombard the victim with fabricated, graphic images of violence, claiming a cartel boss's time was wasted, and threatening the target's family if the money isn't sent. By relying entirely on social terror and digital anonymity, the syndicate can drain a victim's liquid assets without an extortionist ever having to set foot inside the hotel room. In South Asian metropolitan hubs like Bengaluru or Delhi, the operation turns violently physical. The target arrives at a pre-booked service apartment in a busy, wealthy commercial district, expecting a discreet encounter. In this operational profile, the critical moment is the physical ambush. Fake officers aggressively breach the room, staging a decoy arrest. They corner the victim, threatening years in prison. Finally, they force the terrified victim to execute back-to-back bank transfers until hitting his daily limit. This physical breach model uses immediate, inescapable containment to short-circuit the victim's logical reasoning. Trapped in a room with aggressive enforcers, victims hand over their liquid net worth just to survive the night. Whether it's moving a victim across state lines or draining a bank account in a hotel room, these syndicates rely on one core weapon to sustain their operations: the silence of their targets. Before the enforcers let a victim leave that hotel room, they execute the collateralization phase. They force the target to look into a smartphone camera and record a detailed confession, admitting to soliciting illegal services. This creates a permanent, inescapable digital leash. This exposes the harsh reality of these shadow economies. Cooperating with extortionists and paying the initial demand never buys your freedom. It only proves you are a viable target, guaranteeing recurring blackmail and deeper financial demands. If targeted by one of these rings, the only effective defense is total non-compliance. Stop communicating, secure your accounts, and preserve every text, email, and transaction receipt. Most importantly, break the silence. If you suspect trafficking in transit, or if you are the victim of an extortion sting, report it immediately to the proper authorities. The grid only survives when we refuse to look at it.